Okay. I believe I have things set up correctly. Mini Shanny Kitten, hello. So I think that's the setting I want. You are here first. Definitely here first. I'm just trying to make sure that I have all my stuff set up correctly. Everything looks good. Okay. I just realized that the chat is kind of in the way of that. Thank you, Lord Tall Toasters. Thank you. I got my new paint cup. My don't drink this paint cup. It's actually clean water at the moment, so I could drink it. I'll go ahead and get my painting stuff set up. Tell them when they... What? Tell them when they come on, it's miniature. Oh, I get it. Okay, that took me a second to understand what you were saying. I think they'll get it. I think they'll figure it out. Check my DMs. Ooh. I don't know why I said it like that. Ooh. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. The H2D laser full combo. What exactly is in the laser material kit? Is it a bunch of like, is that like acrylic sheets or something? I can't, it's the picture's kind of small. I'm assuming that's what it is, but I don't actually know for sure. Scotchy's watching. Good, good. I'm glad the dog is watching. Add some water to my wet palette. I'll add more than that even. Bunch of stuff: wood, acrylic sheets, blank metal business cards, lots and lots. Oh, because it's a cutter / engraving laser. Nice. I figured it was a laser because it said 10 watt, or at least I think it said 10 watt on the H2D or whatever the model number was. But from the other picture, I couldn't tell exactly what was in that like accessory pack. It looked like a bunch of squares. Hold on, I will hydrate in a second. I got my hands full. You don't need to spam it. I got my new water bottle. The official Shenny's Tabletop Adventures merch water bottle. You can get a 10 watt or 40 watt, but the 40 watt doesn't do details well. But it can cut through up to 15 millimeters of material. Dang. That's pretty nice. And there you go. There's the hydrate. But yeah. The new water bottle came in the other day. I love it. It looks so good. We also got our shirts. We got our mugs. So I got this one for the don't drink this for my new paint cup. And then I have another one with the logo on it, which is also really cool. You get your shirts in magnet finally. Nice. I'm assuming it all shipped separately for you too. Or they probably bundled a couple of things together, but like for me, like the water bottle came first, and the magnet came together, and then our shirts came separate, and then last our mugs came separate. So we got like 3 different packages, which is probably why shipping costs so much, because it's shipping from several locations. Like we discussed a little bit last time, was like, it's not all shipping from one location. It's they've like got drop shippers or whatever. On Twitch out of habit. Why is my chat thing like not fully? There we go. You can use YouTube this time, since Mini Shinny has her own account. I created her an account just for this. Yeah, mine did too. My magnet also came from Vietnam. I'm assuming the water bottle did too, but yeah, the magnet says made in Vietnam right here on the back. I didn't remove the sticker because it's on the back. And then that's just stuck to the side of my PC case. Okay, so we're going to be working on Darth Maul, and I'll switch to the double zoom here shortly. I changed my camera view a little bit, and so the stand or the arm that my camera's on has like notches on the part that like adjusts where it's pointing. I wonder, hold on, where's not that one, this one maybe. Just want to adjust that just ever so slightly, because it's like it was like, I don't know, pointing a little bit too far to the left in my opinion. Why does it keep pausing the auto scroll? Would you stop that? Darth Maul. Got a lightsaber on the 4th, Basilisk Sean's lightsaber staff, which splits into 2 blades. That's awesome. No, his name is Darth Maul, not Vale. Maul. And up close, this is a very detailed model. And he's kind of like leaping forward off of some rubble on his base. He's wielding the dark saber and his half of his normal saber. This model actually came with different build options. So for example, I could have built him with his back arm having the full double saber if I wanted, or the half, which I went with the half. I thought about doing the double, and then you could also build, instead of holding the dark saber, you could have just built him with his empty hand. More like Darth Halfling, am I right? Basically, yeah. He does have his cyborg legs down here. And I have been watching his show, Maul Shadow Lord. I'm like halfway through, so no spoilers, please. But I'm definitely enjoying it so far. But yeah, so we're gonna be painting up Darth Maul tonight. Yeah, no spoilers. I'm not gonna say anything. It's been really fun. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm enjoying it. But I enjoy pretty much all Star Wars content, so there's that. Okay, so I believe most of his tunic, I believe it's not actually black. The over tunic is with the hood, but I believe the part of what you see like here on the sides, I believe is actually kind of like a dark brown. I'm probably gonna have to pull up a reference picture just to be on the safe side, because I want to get it right. Because I know in his original, Phantom Menace appearance, he was pretty much wearing all black, but I think for like the Shadow Collective or whatever, yeah, it's a little bit more dark brown. Like his sleeves are dark brown, but his like tunic and armor panels, and it's like a very, very dark brown. It's honestly kind of like Anakin's a little bit in a way. He's got like a plated shoulder pad. I'm gonna get a brush to point at things. Maybe not a white brush because that blends in too much. So yeah, like this shoulder pad is like an armor plated piece. He's got one on both shoulders. They don't stand out too much, but those are both black. This part of the tunic on his chest is black, and then there's kind of like the two little strips here on each side. Those are both black. But then like this little visible part over the hips is going to be like a really dark brown. His upper arms for his sleeves are going to be brown. His wristbands are basically like they're going to be black, but these little I don't even know what you call these shapes. They're kind of not quite diamond. They're almost like rupee shaped. Those are all silver, and then he's got some little buckle things on his belt that are also going to be silver. But yeah, lots of black to be painted on this guy. Oh, and his pants are also kind of a dark brown. Why does it keep... Okay, the chat thing is bugging me. It keeps disabling the auto scroll. If you think about it, Maul was just the preview of Anakin, killed the Master, fell to the dark side, ran a secret empire, tried to kill Palpatine 12 times. It's true. It's true. Okay, is there something I can set on this to like get it to auto scroll? I think it's just the add-on that I'm using is like freaking out in OBS, because it should be like fully scrolled down, but it keeps like jumping, or like it'll like sometimes it scrolls with the chat, and then sometimes it'll just say like auto scroll paused, and then it just doesn't scroll, which is really weird. It's very frustrating too, because I'll look up and be trying to read a chat message, and it'll say that message over top of the chat, which is not very helpful. So, okay. Obviously, we're going to need some matte black. Short for Matthew Black, by the way. So we're going to use some of that. I believe we're either going to use Oak Brown, which claims it is a ruddy brown, or we might use Bootstrap Brown. These don't look... Shouldn't it be matte black? See, I've always seen it spelled that way with an E, but it's really funny. Army Painter, I don't know if they're just playing a prank on all of us, but they're matte black and they're matte white. Both are just spelled matte, like the name. So I always joke that it's short for Matthew. Whether they like it or not, that's the joke they get. And even their older paints, like the old style, like this is the old style bottle, was the same way. But yeah, I've always seen it with an E. This was the first time I've ever seen it without. So I mean, maybe this is just an alternate spelling. They're from, crap, I don't want to misspeak, but they're from there. I don't actually know. I thought it used to say like bottled in something, but the country code is DK, I think. Skanderborg. Skanderborg. Huh. Yeah, that's how I would expect it too. Yeah, made in Denmark. See, the old ones said that, but the new ones don't. I mean, it has the country code of DK, but off the top of my head, I could not remember what DK stood for other than Donkey Kong. Yes, it is. It is Denmark. Man, and already getting to ban someone on Twitch? Heck yeah. Where's the ban button? There we go. He's gone. Gone. DE is Germany. Yes, for Deutschland. So yeah, matte black. Oh, and again, these two in the bottle, these look pretty similar. I don't know how to explain it. This one says it's a ruddy brown, and this one just says it's a brown. But this one is actually much brighter or lighter than this one on the model. Yeah, it also does have less gray. I'm trying to think. There was something I painted recently with Bootstrap. Hold on. Is it over here? No, I don't think it is. Oh, also. I do also have the other version of Darth Maul. And he's in a very fun pose, too. And this is actually the reason, since he has the double saber, he's actually the reason that I decided not to give this one the double saber, even though I could have. I pissed off Obi-Wan Maul. Exactly. He still has all his... Well, he probably has all of his bits at that point. Can I show the ones you painted? Oh my gosh. If I can reach them, yes. Barely. Okay, so the other day, Mini Shinny was down here with me and wanted to paint a few minis. So first, she painted this dog mini. She named him Hank after our foster dog Hank. The model had some scars on him, so she made sure she painted those scars with some red. And she used normal miniature acrylic paints for these. She did not use speed paints or anything. So she actually, it's kind of hard to see, but she actually very carefully, she painted his nose and his eyes and a little black line for his mouth. She actually did really good on this one. And then she wanted kind of a patchwork design for the bricks on the floor. So she very carefully went through and painted those bricks. And I believe this one was a pool of water, and it actually has, it's really hard to see, but there's like some ripples there. So it is actually supposed to be water. So she painted that one blue. And I'm actually very impressed because she did not get it. She like barely got any on his paw. But you could argue that, you know, he dipped his paw in the water, so it's wet. So she did really great. So this was the first one she painted. And then after that, she painted another dog. This one, not as much details, but it was based on our dog Butterscotch, which is also this kind of cinnamon color. Doing trash and recycle because waste management hates me. All right. She also painted a little fox, and this guy is itty bitty. Like, this is one of the like D&D or Pathfinder minis, and he is absolutely tiny. And again, she did a very good job. She painted his eyes, his face, his ears. Really great job there. She also painted some werewolf guys. I think he kind of, his pose here makes me think of like an ROUS. But the model itself was labeled a hellhound, but she wanted them to be more werewolf. So she painted, I was actually really impressed. She painted like all these red scars and marks all over him. And she painted black in his eyes and his nose and everything. And then she also painted another one that she said was like they share their wounds and stuff, I believe was how she described it. And this one she wanted to be gray because she wanted it to be like the pale wolf in Minecraft. But she also wanted to paint all of the red blood and markings on him, the scars and stuff. So that's what he got. And what else do we have? She painted this little badger guy, Wolverine. I don't know what he is exactly, but she painted this guy. He's itty bitty. Like, I mean, this is my pinky nail, and he's like, he's tiny. Just an itty bitty little guy. So she painted him. She also painted this little bat on a tree trunk. And the last one she kind of started on, I don't know if she was done yet, but she painted this Mandalorian that I had 3D printed a while back. And she was doing a really good job making sure that, you know, his leather bits stood apart from his cloth, like his cape and his pants are a different color than the leather on his belt and boots. So I like that. I like that a lot. And she even painted his T-visor on his helmet there. So good job. Now let me try to carefully get this tray moved back over to safety. Ugh, okay. Now we might be able to get some paint on Maul here in a second. I don't know which brown I'm going to end up going with. I'll probably do the oak. No, I think I'll do bootstrap. Bootstrap's a newer brown for me. But I bought the leather brown and paratrooper tan, which are like, if you go up the scale on their little chart, these are like the next browns going up. So I picked those up too, so that I have some like highlights and midtones and stuff, with this being kind of the darker tone. Need to add a second coat on some of them. Yeah, that's fine. You can always add a second coat later. We're gonna need some reds for his skin and also for his lightsaber. So his skin is probably going to highlight up to this pure red. That's going to be like the main color on his skin, with probably basilisk red being like the shadowy parts of that. And then his horns are kind of yellow. We'll worry about that later, I think, though. We probably just need to start getting some colors on here. I think I am going to take Enchanted Steel, the speed paint, for his robot legs, though. I think that'll look good. But let's go ahead, break out the matte black, and get started. And he's going to have a decent amount of black on him, because most of his skin is going to get painted in black. And then also a good chunk of his clothes are as well. Gotta decide which brush I want to use for this. Might as well just go ahead and use this guy. On ambient gold, I will in a little bit. I just got to the point of starting painting, so I'm not gonna worry about manually switching the song because it takes me a little bit to find it. So I'm not gonna do that just yet, but I will here in a bit. Also, I don't know if I've heard this song before, and the intro at least to it sounds pretty cool. Sorry, I had him a little bit too low there. Okay, if I get his skin at the moment too, because most of like the creases and stuff under his or not his creases, but like most of his chest needs to be black, and then there's like parts of the red that kind of show through. So it's okay if it is just kind of all black at the moment. And my black is also fairly watered down, which is good. It's kind of going on a little bit like a speed paint or a contrast paint at this point. Oh yeah, I guess that shoulder pad is also black. BRB, okay. I need to like make sure I get my position right, because I feel like I'm like too far back, but I'm I'm not. He feels like he's going to pop out of this. So I'm going to move him to the lower clip because it's a little tighter there. Because I don't want him to like pop out of the holder and like land in my fresh paint in my palette. That would suck. Feels like someone is texting me. I believe that my phone was just vibrating. Looks like his gloves kind of, they're not quite like fingerless gloves, but it looks like they kind of like wrap up his hands somewhat. Like they at least go up like the back side of his hand or something. Kind of hard to tell. I at least want to get the black parts on here before, well, not before, but I want to get these on kind of quickly and move on to some colors so he doesn't look so bland. Is he all black? Not quite. Well, maybe that doesn't go on his hand. This one doesn't look like it. The other one kind of looked like it covered the top of his hand, but now I'm thinking it doesn't. But no, he's not all black. It's just most of his undercoating is going to be black. Oh, sorry, I missed a spot right there. But yeah, we're going to move on to colors here in a second. I'm just making sure I've got him covered pretty good. Yeah, not quite. Okay, but before that, because you requested it, here we go. Ambient gold just for you. And we are going to grab some bootstrap brown. Probably grabbed way too much black too. I have a lot of black on my palette. I got too big of a drop. All right, bootstrap brown. Is it about time to hydrate? I can hydrate here in a minute. So one thing that a lot of people who are like better at building models than me do. So he kind of has a seam here on the side of his little inner tunic, this brown part. And some people will take some plastic cement and like some old sprues and mix it together and make what they call sprue goo. And then kind of use that as like a gap filler. And I have made some sprue goo. But I have not had much luck getting it to work how I want it to. I've not had success using it as a gap filler. For 10 minutes and I come back to Darth Pantaloons. That's right, he's getting his pantaloons painted. Rinse the brush. Want to know the best part of the H2D? What's the best part about it? Mini Shinny, I think Mom might still be watching. She may have stepped away though because she's trying to give Shinny Baby 2.0 a Vulcan neck pinch. Six interchangeable print heads at once. Wow, at once. Not at once. Could be at once, but probably not. That is impressive. The Vortex system. Vortex of print heads. Some of these angles are not the easiest to get without getting paint on other things. The nice thing is, though, most of the stuff that I could get it on is probably going to be painted black anyways. So I can probably just go back and repaint it black. Also load like a specific head for carbon fiber filament or like a wider or narrow nozzle, so I can do refined stuff with the 0.2 head and fast stuff with a 0.6 all in the same print. That's pretty cool. I feel like some of those guys back in like the old rep days dreamed of that kind of thing, like being able to do that kind of stuff with interchangeable tool heads and stuff. All right, now he's at least got some brown and black. You were enjoying the old Chimera head for ages. That system was super finicky and hard to get working. Was that your old printer that you had? That was kind of like a custom build thing, if I remember right. Did it have that Chimera head? Gonna get some dark red first. The Chimera was an Ender 2.3 mod that added 4 nozzles. Oh, dang. That's pretty wild. I have an Ender 3 still. I don't ever use it. Now that I got my P1S. My Ender 3 was never like calibrated super well, so like prints didn't always come out the most dimensionally accurate. And, you know, part of that's my fault. Like I needed to do better at, you know, calibrating it and stuff and getting it dialed in, but I was just lazy. You know? It's one of those things. It's one of those things that happens, man. Sometimes you're just lazy. You know, I just realized I started painting one of his hands black and then thinking like, oh no, it's not covered by his glove, it shouldn't be black, even though I already painted like almost all the rest of his skin black because I'm painting it black first so I can add the red on top. But I can't remember what, are Darth Maul's hands more black or more red? I don't know. I need to look at reference. I'm just getting this first layer of red on his lightsaber. Because of that, you had to write custom Marlin for it so that it could XY offset each head. Oh, that makes sense. See, I was thinking the same thing, but on this sculpt, like this hand, it almost looked like he had, like the thing went over his hand, but on this hand, it doesn't look like it. This hand looks more like a bare hand to me. Huh. brush while I look at a reference picture. Okay, yeah, and I'm looking at like a action figure for him in Shadow Lord, and he's totally wearing gloves. And in the original pictures, he's wearing gloves. Like in episode 1, he's wearing gloves. Every picture I see of him everywhere, he's wearing gloves, like all the way up to the elbows. So, gloves it is. Gloves for everyone. Right. Gloves for Mr. Maul. But this time, because all the reference pictures look like he's wearing gloves, and not just because I don't want to paint hands. Have fun figuring out painting the Darksaber. I have the prop version if you need a reference. Oh boy, I figured it was going to be fun. I almost glued him together as the option without it. Because I knew it was going to be a pain. Okay, now he has gloves. Yeah, the Darksaber is going to be interesting. Technically, the blade is black with white cracks along the sides. That's kind of what I was thinking. And I was debating, well, the front and back edge are white. I was thinking I could leave the very front edge white and maybe the back too, and then be very careful and paint like only black on this side, and then maybe very carefully do some white cracks in it to make it look like that lightning crackle effect. I don't know. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that yet. But I need to switch to a smaller, more detail-oriented brush. And we're going to get some red. And unfortunately, the angle that this is, can't really see it too well at the moment because the Darksaber is kind of in the way. But basically, he has some raised, like his abs basically are kind of, his abs and his pecs are kind of designated like different parts of the model. They're almost like they're embossed, and that makes them a little bit easier to kind of pick out with a detail brush. And luckily the tattoos on his face are kind of the same way, so we're going to kind of start with this dark red. The core is jet black. Mine has the lightning going only a couple inches into the black. Okay, okay. So like a little bit maybe at the very edge. I have an idea of how I might do that, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, his face is going to be very tricky. Man. Okay. Pulling up my reference picture of him again. I've got like a close-up from Shadow Lord. Okay. Want just this picture. Open in new tab. There we go. I'm gonna kind of set that. You DM'd me a reference photo. Oh, okay. Nice, nice. For Dark Savior. Ooh, okay. Okay. I like that. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, his face is going to be really fun, because especially because I need to do it like multiple times. Because I kind of need to like build up from the darker red into the lighter red. Gosh, what have I gotten myself into? Like the details are so small. And almost immediately I get it on part that's not supposed to be red. Yours is supposedly screen accurate. I think also I may have watered down my red just ever so slightly too much. So it does help because, like I said, most of his like markings are kind of raised up just a little bit, but it's still very, very easy to get the paint on something that's not and to not dry out the paint on my brush, because I can only get a little bit on there. I'm trying to like look at the details too, and it's again, it's so small. I wonder if it would make more sense Another buddy of mine got a Eufy Maker printer. It can print any color onto a surface. I'm not sure how it works, but people are using them to turn matte black PLA prints into full color prints. Oh, wow. It's like 300 DPI, like a laser printer for paper, but onto any surface. That's wild. Does it do the, like, does it do the normal print too? And then it prints the color on top of that? Or do you print it with like a different printer and then you like put it on there? I'm wondering if this would be, this would make more sense to like paint most of it red and then to kind of like go over it with a wash or something. It's just surface printing. You have to have something for it to color print onto. Okay. So you do your 3D print with another printer. UV ink printer, so it does some kind of UV bonding. Interesting. Oh man, okay, hold on. Do I have him? He's out of... Hearing some loud noises upstairs. Is he as out of focus as I think he is? Do I have my... It's better. Got a bunch of notifications and was just making sure it wasn't Shinny Wifey trying to get a hold of me or something. Looks like it basically... No loud noises here. It sounds like there's loud noises, Shinny Wifey. Sorry, I just saw your response there. We can do slightly raised textures. Interesting. Oh, sarcasm. Okay. Okay, I need a different picture of Maul real quick. Ooh, that's a pretty good one. Okay, so a lot more... Hey! Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Miniature Graveyard. Holy moly. Thank you for the raid. How's everybody doing tonight? Raiding with a party of 73. How's everyone doing tonight? You there is here. Oh, it's Maul, my favorite. He's pretty cool. I like Maul. The Long Rest EM, welcome. I'm deeply in thought on Maul's face tattoos here, trying to figure out the best way to proceed. And I'm trying, of course, to go the hard route of like painting with layers and starting with kind of a darker red and then planning to work my way up into a slightly brighter red, because you know, sometimes you just hate yourself. And so you punish yourself in weird ways like that. Very carefully, yes. It is definitely going to have to be very carefully. And I'm trying to figure out exactly how to, like... I'm looking at a reference picture, and it really... It looks like his tattoo kind of has this, you know, round shape up here, but... Or maybe not tattoo. I think his skin is red and the black is the tattoo, but... Make sure to keep the red around the horns because his tattoos don't touch the horns. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm seeing that in this picture I'm looking at here. Necrotomb, how's it going? And, yeah, layering is going to be interesting on this guy. Just because of how intricate some of this is. Oh, also, I got my new paint cup in, finally. For those that are just joining us. It's my favorite paint cup. It says drink this. I actually made another cup that does say drink this. Mostly because I thought it would be funny. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of paint all the way around the horns right here. Because, and I don't mind if it gets on the horns at all, because I'm going to be painting over the horns later. And this will make it easier to just kind of get in there and take care of some of that. All of the instructions, drink it. I love it. I love it. So, Minnie, I missed what you were painting earlier. I tried to stop into your stream, but we were working on getting our kids in bed, and so I missed what you were painting. But hopefully it was a good stream. And most importantly, I hope you had fun painting whatever it was you were painting. Also, I'm not sure if I got, like, the black dark enough. I think it might have been too watered down because his face looks very gray instead of black right now. And it's bugging me a little bit. Maybe I can get this red on here and then go back with a wash before I get too much further. That might be a good idea. Shatterpoint. This one is actually for Legion. I believe his Shatterpoint model is kind of in a similar pose. But I don't think I actually own his Shatterpoint model. I have quite a... Yeah, this is the Shadow Collective Maul from the Shadow Collective starter box, which I have just out of my reach. I was going to hold it up, but I can't reach it from here. I actually won the Shadow Collective box at my local store. They did a Legion Escalation League, and the Shatterpoint box was, or I'm sorry, not Shatterpoint, the Shadow Collective box was my prize that I chose. Will I paint the Wookiee next stream? I might paint a Wookiee next stream. That could be fun. I actually have some Wookiees right here that I was kind of prepping and getting ready. So I've got a few over here. That's my daughter. Mini Shinny Kitten is my daughter, so she's probably putting in her request of what I'm gonna paint coming up. And it looks like Shinny Wifey also would prefer that I paint some Wookiees. I think that's a decent start on the red. I don't even know. I'm not sure if I told her that I made her a shirt with her name on it. Have I painted Rook yet? I have not. But I do have her built right here. I actually just started building some of the Shadow Collective box. Like, I won this box when it was pretty new, and I did not open it because I was so focused. I was like, I gotta paint some of my other stuff. I gotta get them built and painted first. And so I was like, I'm not gonna open this until I need to. And I started building some of the pikes. And now all the cards are useless. This is true. This is true. But no one in my local group really uses the cards. We all just use Tabletop Admiral. So I don't mind. I've pretty much never used the cards. Okay, I'm gonna put a wash on there because I think that'll help. Where's my not wet palette? And probably dark tone. Have I painted Boba Fett? I have not. I don't actually have his original model. I only have his I have his newer Book of Boba Fett style miniature. And I think I have it built, but I don't think I have it primed or ready for painting at all. I could be wrong. Just a little bit of wash. And basically what I'm wanting to do is darken his head back down because I feel like it got a little bit too light. I think I watered down my black a little bit too much whenever I was getting this ready. The cartoon's on a 5-stream streak. Awesome. Sorry, for some reason some of my notifications like aren't fully popping up. Like I'm getting them if I look at the chat log or whatever, but I'm not getting them in my notification thing. Like the add-on or whatever that I'm using. Maybe it's just not working. Shitty Baby 2.0 is yelling, "Daddy, Daddy." I wondered. I thought that's what I was hearing. So, of course, I always start the stream right around bedtime, the baby's bedtime, which, you know, is a great time to start a stream. And I try my best to make sure that I'm not too loud, and I try to make sure that I'm not, I don't know, interfering with sleep time too much. But if I start any later, then it's like a really, really short stream. So I try to balance that out. Okay, I think that's going to help some. I'm going to let that dry a bit because I'm going to go back over it with some lighter red. I just wanted to kind of get that blocked in, and I'm going to try some pure red to bump that up. Same with his saber. I also need to paint his robo legs and start working on some highlights and stuff. And I probably need to figure out what colors I want to paint the rubble and stuff down here. Some of the dirt and gunk. But yeah, I can start working on some highlights on his robes. And I'll have to figure out the Darksaber. That's going to be fun. And I haven't really done anything on like his saber handles. Strategically avoiding the Darksaber. It's true. It's true. See, you sent me a reference picture. What color is the hilt on the Darksaber? Mostly black or very dark, it looks like. Like a really dark gray, maybe. It's jet black? Okay. I'm looking at different pictures, and some of them, and it might just be some reflections that make it look like almost charcoal. Like in Rebels, it looks like it was more charcoal colored. But in everything else, it looks much darker. Okay. It's just black on black on black. How do I do my lightsabers? I'm glad you asked. Let me scroll just out of frame for a second, and I'll grab a couple of minis that I've done lightsabers on recently so I can show you real quick. Okay, sorry about that. So, for lightsabers, this is one I painted up recently of a Jedi. This is a 3D print from Darkfire Designs. And I typically like to kind of layer it up. I start with like this one is obviously a blue lightsaber. So I started with a really dark blue. I believe I used like Imperial Navy as like the base coat. And then I kind of worked my way up from there. I believe I went with Crystal Blue next. And so I coated the whole thing in that Imperial Navy. And then with Crystal Blue, I kind of coated like the top half to maybe 2/3, kind of leaving the bottom as the darker shade. And I know with lightsabers, you don't really get like directional lighting like that. But I think for a miniature, you kind of have to just pick a direction. In my opinion, you have to kind of pick a direction that you want it to look good from. So with this mini, I wanted it to look from the front. I wanted it to look good, or, you know, where you're kind of maybe looking down on it from the front. Because if you're playing a tabletop game, you're kind of looking down on things a little bit. And then I took some bright sapphire and just did kind of a really thin line across the top there, and I feel like that does a pretty good job of giving that glow effect without a whole ton of work. And so that worked pretty well for her. And then I also this was the first time I had tried that technique, but I also did the same thing on this Ahsoka model, where from underneath the lightsabers, you know, they don't really look too impressive. They're just dark blue. But from like the front and maybe even the sides and above, I think I went a little bit overboard with the brightness on this one. But I think it looks pretty good still. But that's usually how I do lightsabers. It's nothing, you know, amazing, but I think it works out pretty well. So I'm kind of going to do the same thing with his. I've had 1 lag and 6 ads today. Yeah, it's not anything overly complicated. I've also done like speed paints in the past, where I just, you know, painted the whole thing bright white and then gone over it with, of course, a speed paint that I don't have up here on my shelf. But for like a blue saber, I think I used like it was some sort of like plasma glow color I got from Citadel. I I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't use Citadel paints a lot. I mostly use Army Painter and Vallejo. But I do have a few Citadel paints because when I first started, that's all I knew what to buy because that's what all my friends had. But then I realized I don't really like a lot of the Citadel stuff that much. And when I first started, I was mostly playing Warhammer 40k, and then I kind of moved on to other stuff. I realized there were more cool miniature games out there. I still have a lot of 40k stuff, and I like a lot of the 40k stuff. I grew up with Star Wars, and when I realized there were Star Wars games, I really wanted to play some Star Wars stuff. So yeah, basically with his saber, I'm gonna go and coat most of it in this pure red. And then I'll probably come back with an even brighter highlight color. Star Wars is the best just because it's Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I grew up with it. I've watched so much Star Wars. I watched pretty much all the shows. I've seen all the movies. I know, certain parts of Star Wars obviously get certain amounts of hate. But while I can probably agree that, maybe the story wasn't always done the best, I still just love Star Wars. Is it always perfect? No. But that's okay. There's still a lot of great Star Wars out there. Okay, so this chest looks a lot better now. And like Talto said, I am strategically avoiding the Darksaber. Try my best to get these kind of raised areas. That is one saving grace with this model specifically, is a lot of the area that is supposed to be red is like ever so slightly raised up. That's why you haven't painted your model that has a Darksaber at all. I also built my Sabine model without the Darksaber. Mostly because at the time, I didn't know if I liked the Darksaber, because I built her model like immediately, and I also have not painted that model because Sabine's paint job is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I really wasn't sure if I wanted my Sabine to have the Darksaber, and I know I could have like magnetized her or something. I got too much water on there. That was gonna bleed everywhere if I got that on there. Wait until the rest of the Ghost Crew comes out. I am excited for that. I think I'm going to print a full Mando helmet with the new printer, just straight up a single piece helmet as it should be. Very nice, Taltos. My current Mando helmet that I have, the main dome portion was all printed as one piece, but then I printed like the ear detail sections separate, because I was able to get more detail on them that way. Finally do Ezra's blaster saber as a single piece print. That would be really cool, actually. I don't have his blaster saber. I really liked his blaster saber. I thought that was such a neat idea as, like, you know, a non-traditional Jedi, like having that idea, and like a normal Jedi, like, you know, Obi-Wan Kenobi would think it's so, you know, unrefined or whatever, but it made sense for Ezra, I think, especially, you know, that early on for him. So uncivilized. Exactly. Okay. And it's also interesting because, like, parts of this, like I said, are raised up, and there's parts that I'm definitely like, oh yeah, that's part of his, that part should be red. But then there's parts where it's like not raised up, and I'm like, should that be red? I prefer to dual wield blaster and saber. Ah, the Jedi Survivor approach. Blaster stance was pretty great in Jedi Survivor. I liked that it had some really cool, like, parry mechanics and stuff. Perfect, but I think that's starting to look pretty decent. I feel like I missed part of his eyebrow, though. Hold on, I gotta try to fix that. Alan for tap. Wait, is that Alan from the Army Painter? Great paint choice. I appreciate that. I am using quite a bit of Army Painter paints. I've had some pretty good luck with the War Paints Fanatic line. Sure is. That is awesome. A little while back, Adam sent me some paints, or Army Painter in general. I say Adam. He's the main person I've spoken with there. But they've sent me a couple of paint sets in the past for my YouTube channel, and so I've always had a really good relationship with Army Painter paints. I really enjoy them. He actually, the last thing he sent me was the Fanatic starter set, which I have not opened yet. And mostly because he had sent it to me right around the time my son was born, and I had planned to make a video on it, and got really busy with taking care of a baby, and have not started on it yet. And I've had some ideas, but as you can see, I already have a bunch of other Warpaints Fanatic, and I have a bunch of the old stuff. In fact, let me zoom out my camera here real quick, just so you can kind of see. So I have a lot of the old Army Painter paints, which I don't use nearly as much anymore, because the Fanatics are just so much better. But my wife, Shinny Wifey, had actually bought me a Warpaints Fanatic set, not the starter set, but she got me the I think it's the most wanted set with like 50 or so paints in it. I don't remember exactly how many, but most of this stand right here is from that set. So she had got me that, but then Adam had sent me this one. And Alan, you may have put it in, but I believe it was closer to 2 years ago when he sent it to me. Or I'm sorry, when I received it, not necessarily when he sent it to me, but when the army painter sent it to me, was about 2 years ago. And I want to use it. I want to open that set and make a video. I want to paint the miniature that comes in that set, which I think is such a fantastic addition. I'm not trying to turn this into like an army painter. Like, I'm not sponsored by Army Painter or anything like that. I do really love the paints. But I'm not trying to turn this into like an advertisement for you guys necessarily, but I think that starter set is one of the best ones out there because it comes with the miniature. Because if someone is like brand new to miniature painting, like if I was going to buy someone like a gift, like if I wanted to buy someone a starter set, that one comes with a miniature. It comes with brush on primer. It comes with a good selection of colors. And so someone who's brand new can literally open that box and get started. Whereas a lot of starter sets, you can't do that. Army Painter speed glazing. Yeah, in a way, but still, it's good paints. It's good stuff. And Army Painter paints are one of the main ones I can get at my local store too. Oh, and let's see, come get some. I love the Army Painter wet palette. I also am using the Army Painter wet palette. It's kind of in pieces. Hold on. So here's the base, the middle part, and the lid that says Army Painter. I've had this one for a while. This is the old style. Well, actually, I don't know if they've changed their wet palette or not, but I've had this one for about as long as I've been painting, which is about, gosh, it's been like 7 or 8 years now. I got you to start buying it. Good. That's the goal. Yeah, this one, I believe, is the small one. Do you guys have a larger one? Because sometimes I actually fill this one up, and I could probably use a slightly larger one. So if you guys have a larger one, I might need to pick one of those up. I think I'm at a pretty good place with his face. I may add some just slight more highlights to it, but I think I need to start. Well, okay, I need to rough in some colors on the Darksaber. It will make Taltos happy. And at the moment, it's just so bright. We have the XL. It comes with a well palette as well for speed paints. Oh, that's awesome, because I also use speed paints. I don't know if I had them in frame, but I have a bunch of speed paints too. Basically, I have like this set, or this shelf with the War Paints Fanatic. The one next to it has kind of a mix of some Vallejo and speed paints and stuff. But the first set that Adam had sent me was actually the Speed Paint Metallics line when these first came out. And so I have the set of like, what is it, 10 or 12 of these. And I love these things. They have such amazing coverage. Like, again, I'm not trying to advertise for Army Painter, but these are really great metallics. I love these guys. And I was actually planning on using these on his robot legs. I was going to use this enchanted steel and then maybe come back with some highlights of some different colors, do a little bit of edge highlighting maybe to make it kind of stand out a little bit. But I also don't want to draw too much attention like down to his legs. Like, I want to keep the attention up here, like in his face area, as I'm pointing at like his chest, but like up here at his face. I want to draw the attention to the face, which is also why I think I need to add a little bit more highlights. I need to brighten his face up just a bit. It's a little bit too dark at the moment. So, ooh, okay, I've got an idea. I wish I had, I do have extra paint water because my daughter's paint water is still here. My daughter was painting with me the other night, which was a lot of fun. She is 8 years old, and I think she's still in the chat if she's still awake. But she was painting with me the other day and painted a few things. Where? Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna grab this paint water. I don't like to mix my metallics. Like, I don't like to use the same brushes or the same paint water with metallics because a lot of times they have those little flakes in there. I like to... I'm wide awake. Okay, she's still awake. So yeah, I like to... No, we let her stay up late on stream nights, Talto. If I F up the Darksaber, you'll drive over and hit me with the real Darksaber. I love it. So I gotta get this right, guys. Yeah, we usually let her stay up on stream nights. I mean, I only stream one night a week, so it's not like we're letting her stay up all the time. But yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to do some enchanted steel. This isn't quite dark enough on its own. So I want to start with the enchanted steel and then go over that with either a wash or another speed paint to really darken it up. But I think the handle should have a little bit of that like brushed metallic look to it. That's what I'm telling myself anyways. And this is a pretty dark metallic. So we will start with the handle. And if I need to make it darker, I can always go back down even further. Sleep is for the weak. Only sleep if it's still the week. Do these little notches light up on here? Because I'm probably going to have to come back and do something to make those brighter again. If they do. I'm assuming they do. They look like they should. They do. Turn on Star Wars and let the dulcet tones of Obi-Wan Kenobi lull you to sleep. That's probably one way you could do it. But I feel like I would also just be, you know, invested in the story or the movies and just, you know, want to watch. Also gonna paint his robot legs. Or I guess cyborg legs? I don't know. The legs themselves are robotic. Alex Shockwave redeemed. Hydrate. Alright, give me 1 second. I will hydrate. I promise. But I have paint on my brush. And I want to at least get the leg here covered. And the bottom there. And alright, one leg is covered. Let me rinse out my brush so I don't have metallic paint just sitting in there with my old paint cup here. And I can hydrate with the Shenny's Tabletop Adventures water bottle that I got. I was so excited to get this. Mini Shenny over here agreeing with Alex Shockwave 84. I will say, okay, so I ordered this water bottle, and I don't know if you noticed whenever I was doing that, but so I tighten it down, right, and it gets to the point where it's tight. But if you keep twisting very far at all, it just kind of pops over the thread, and it's loose again, because it only has like basically one thread that goes down on it. I don't know how well you can see that there. It like starts here, but then ends like right over here. And so it's really easy to like you're trying to tighten it all the way down and you're like, okay, it's almost tight. And then it's like, oh crap, I went too far and now it like popped off. So that's actually a complaint I have about this water bottle. I love the printing job they did. It looks so good. But I don't like the lid. It does keep my water cold though, so that's nice. But it's got a weird lid. All right, let's get his other leg here. They're robotic, but not, because they were formed through the magic of Mother Taliesin, so they're kind of organic robotic magic hybrid. That's right. Okay, it's been a bit since I've seen any of those scenes from the Clone Wars. So like I've been watching his new show, Shadow Lord. No spoilers, please, for anybody, because I know we have a couple people in the chat who have not finished it. I mean, the finale just aired, I think, the other day. So no spoilers, please. And I'm not caught up. I'm a few episodes behind. But I'm really enjoying it. But I noticed in the episodes, like, I don't want, man, I'm trying to think like how to word something without like spoiling things. But like they made it very clear that he at the very least has like a organic link to them, because he can like feel when he gets hit, right? Man, I love that shade. That is so nice. Did the video turn into a reviewing video? Not on purpose. Oh, and Taltos, thank you for the reference video. I haven't looked at it yet, but I trust that it is good material. So he had sent me some pictures earlier, actually, of his Darksaber. And I think what I'm going to do is first get my palette out of the way here. But I think what I'm going to do is kind of try to carefully paint black kind of along the back side, trying to leave a thin strip of white here along the front. I think that's my strategy at the moment. Water bottle reviewing video. I guess it kind of did turn into that. I got a little bit of too much water right there. All right. So of course, now my hands are going to be like super shaky trying to do this in front of everybody. Want to try to get like a fairly straight line. Not terrible. There's a little bit of a divot right there. There we go. That came out better than you expected. It also came out better than I expected. So, though I'm wondering, Let's see, the underside is mostly black because, and you can't really, like, unless you're really getting at a weird angle, you can't really see underneath it very well anyways. But I am... Can you even tell that I'm painting on that side? Not really. I think I need to come back with some white and like lighten up that other edge. Maybe. I don't know. I think I got another follower. I can't see the notification. I'm so sorry. It's so small. I can't read it. I'm really sorry. Hold on one second. And I've probably missed some other followers because it's not notifying me of followers for some reason. It's only notifying me of some of the other stuff. Horror loving. Hey, there we go. Okay, you commented as well. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Because obviously it notified me earlier when someone redeemed like the channel points, but it's not telling me when someone, like, it's not giving me like the pop-up when someone follows or something. So I think I have my settings wrong. Let's do a little bit more. I'm probably gonna mess this up, but I want just a little bit more black on the blade here. It's looking a little bit gray in places instead of black, so I want it just slightly darker. And that white band might be a little bit too wide, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that much thinner without like really messing something up. Sorry, I just saw that mini shinny. You're going to go hydrate. Y'all should too. You know what? I will hydrate again because she asked me to. I just have to be careful not to over tighten the lid on that thing. I think that's the takeaway. Okay, so right now his tunic is just kind of a mess of black. It doesn't really stand out too much, so I'm gonna start adding some highlights. So I've been using matte black. Oh, I don't know, Alan, if you're still here, why do you guys spell it this way? I always joke in all my videos, anytime I use matte black or matte white, I always joke that it's short for Matthew Black and Matthew White because it's spelled this way. And I've never seen it spelled like this except for on your guys' paints. I've always seen it with an E on the end. So if you're still there, I would appreciate an answer. If you're not, that's okay though. It's just, it's different. It is short for Matthew Black. That's how I always say it. Like if I mention it in a video, if I say, hey, I'm going to use some Army Painter Matte Black, I say short for Matthew Black. Because it makes me happy. Whether it's actually short for that or not. I'd like to think that they have some guy there named Matt, and he just really wanted his name on the bottle. And they're like, you know what? It's good enough. And they just left it. Like, I think that would be funny. It was also just really cool that we had a Army Painter guy here. Turns out literally everyone at Army Painter just can't spell Matt. That would also be kind of funny. I bet it's just like part of like the language difference since they're from Denmark. Like, I wonder if the way they translate it or the way they spell it is just different than how it is in English. He was the guy that put it through the final spell check, and he's like, yeah, that's how my name's spelled. That would be pretty funny too. All right. Can I do some highlights on here that don't look too terrible? It's Matt in Danish with one T. So what I'm hearing is that for some unknown reason, they added that second T on purpose. To avoid confusion for the people that spell it Matt with an E. The Matt does spell check theory. You know what? I think that's a good theory too. You know, in some places here, I actually watered down my matte black enough that it doesn't look... I can barely even tell that I'm painting any gray on it. Social media campaign. You know what? Maybe, like, I haven't talked to him in a bit, but maybe I'll just email Adam. Like I said, he's my contact there. And they've sent me paints. But then again, maybe if I ask, they won't send me any more paints. They'll be like, whoa, that's rude. You don't ask about that, man. Dear Adam. That seems a little on the extreme side. And there's like a spot here at the edge of this tunic that doesn't look like it should be as like fat as it is or as wide, and I'm hitting it with my brush and it's making that section extra wide. You can't ask about Matt. It's not allowed. He's just a guy that works there, man. Matt is often considered an accepted alternative to Matt in Europe. Oh, okay. See, I wondered if it was just something like that, where it's just normal over there. Thanks, Gemini. And I had just never seen it that way before, so like I said, I just kind of always turned it into a joke in my videos. Apparently older hobby painting companies used matte as a sort of standard. Interesting. I mean, I know army painter's been around for a little while. Doing like extra wide edge highlighting on this piece. is not really how you should do what I'm doing. But it'll be fine. On his glove here. Doesn't change that it's Ron. The army painter's following industry norms. It's entirely possible. I don't think that's the case. Pretty sure Gemini lied. Matt is the guy that works at Army Painter. That's what I'm gonna go with. That's my headcanon. That's what I choose to believe. There's just some guy named Matt that works there. Minnie Shinny, did Mom fall asleep? I haven't seen her chatting in a bit. You don't know? Oh, did she go back in with Shinny Baby 2.0? I thought I heard him upset up there earlier. Google dumping billions into Gemini. Nope, wrong. Yes. Yes, you can answer Matt. It's true. And that's also a good answer. You do not know them. That's always a good response on the internet. Alan joined the Discord. Did he really? That's amazing. We'll just ask him directly. We'll get an answer one way or another. That's awesome, though. I mentioned Adam from the Army Painter. I'm actually friends with him on Facebook, which is kind of wild to me. I mean, I'm a very small creator. I'm even on YouTube, like I have right around 2,500 subscribers. So I mean, I've got a few, but I mean, I'm still I'm a small time creator. I'm not like Eons of Battle or Miniac or any of those large creators, or Squidmar. He's probably one of the biggest ones in the mini painting space. He might actually be the biggest now that I'm thinking about it. I want to say he had like 700,000 subscribers or something like that. And I think both Miniac and Eons of Battle both have 300 and something thousand. I mean, they're pretty big. Like they're both large channels. I'm just a little tiny guy. But it is still really cool that Army Painter would send out paints and stuff to a little tiny person like me. They didn't even ask me to make a video or anything. They just sent me some paints and wanted to like help support a small creator, which I thought was really cool. They said if I did make a video, their only request was that if I made a video to like if I ran into any problems or anything, like to reach out to them first, because if it was a problem, like maybe I got sent bad paint or something, they wanted to make sure that they could try to fix the problem, like if it was, you know, bad paint, so that way I'm not like saying like, oh, this paint's terrible. Oh my gosh, really awesome, great channel, my friend. Thank you, Mario Songs. Thank you for the super chat, really appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Also, you may have already been here, but thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. We're just kind of working on Darth Maul here. Don't want to put too many highlights on his chest because it's kind of tilted downwards there. If it's those numbers, I'm joining the channel management. Oh, wait. I just saw what she said. You shall become higher with subs than Mr. Beast. I did not see that she had sent that. Mini Shinny, I think it's a lofty goal and is pretty far away. I think I would be scared if I was hitting like Mr. Beast level numbers. That's a lot. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff he has to do to get those numbers. Like, I don't want to say clickbait, but he has a style. He has like a type of video that he makes. And I don't have that kind of personality. Well, thank you. You there is here. Thank you. I don't really follow his stuff. His style isn't really for me. I've watched some of it. She's angling for that life-size Eevee plush collection. That's right. She wants me to become a big YouTuber so she can get more Eevee plushies. You are not wrong. I'm gonna move up to my next highlight color. And this is gonna be even less highlights than what we just did. Gonna be just tiny amounts of it. And I've already used like more paint than I need for most colors. But like I just put a tiny drop. That's all I'm gonna use. And I'm probably not even gonna use all of that. But yeah, Mr. Beast has like, you know, his style content. He's that very excited personality, and I'm just a much more laid back type of person. I'm not like super excitable like that. Tortoise knows my plans. Like the tiniest amount of highlights on here. Can I hit? These are like almost at the same level, like the height wise, so I'm trying to brush against the edge without hitting like multiple parts. I'm not succeeding here. Mr. Beast can't paint minis. That might be true. I actually have no idea. But honestly, I think that mini painting is something that anyone could do if they like, you know, really set their mind to it. And they took the time to sit down and try to learn. That's more paint than I wanted right there, but it'll be fine. Only because my wife has a giant Eevee collection too. If you ask your dad nicely, I might be convinced to send you an evolution care package. Forgot manners, please. At least she remembered her manners. I'll give her that. I will give her that. She has quite a few Eevee plushies. She has several of the evolutions. Most of them are like a slightly smaller style. Like, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches tall, but she has one Eevee one that is like almost 3 feet tall. Like, it's pretty big. Less water on my brush. That was too much. I want just really, really slight highlights. Speaking of, we're coming that way before too long, maybe midsummer. I'll give you a heads up. Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, definitely. Let me know. Your big Jolteon's on her. Oh, yeah, yeah. She has, like, the sleeping Jolteon plushie. Her Eevee, though, is not the sleepy one. It's just, like, a really big, like, standing one. I think in the originals, like red, blue, and yellow, I think Jolteon was my favorite back then. And then when Gold and Silver came out, I fell in love with Umbreon. I thought Umbreon was so cool. I mean, I was like, what, 8 or something like that at the time when that happened, but immediately I was like, oh my god, Umbreon's amazing. And I did not know how to get Umbreon back then. Like, I knew I had to make it my friend, like befriend the Eevee at the right time and stuff, but I kept like mistiming it, and like I'd log into the game when I got home from school and it like wasn't quite nighttime, and so I kept getting Espeons and I was so mad. I also just, you know, didn't really know what I was doing back then. Your favorite's Flareon. Okay. Your wife's is just plain old Eevee, but she really likes Sylveon as well. And see, like, I didn't play much of the newer games, and so, like, I'm not really very familiar with Sylveon, Glaceon, Leafeon, and I feel like there might be another one that I'm not thinking of. I don't, like, dislike them or anything. I'm just not very familiar with them. Oh, I missed a spot on his knee. I can see it. It's like too bright right there. Gotta go back and fix it. I hate it when I do stuff like that. When I just miss a little spot. Alright, Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon, Espeon, Umbreon, Sylveon, Glaceon, and Leafeon. Okay, if that's all of them, I think I got them then. Okay, I'm pretty happy with his tunic. I don't want to go overboard. I still need to go back and paint some of the little silver bits, but I'm not going to do that quite yet, because I'm going to do that with this handle here. But I want to add a little bit of highlights to his brown, so it's not just kind of, I don't know, it's very flat brown at the moment. So earlier we used Bootstrap Brown, and because Army Painter does their like color triad thing with their little chart, I have Leather Brown, which is the next little step up in the chart. I guess this chart's kind of hard to see on camera, but this one is like the 5th one down on the scale, and this one is the 4th one. And then if I need to go any higher than that, I also have Paratrooper Tan. My goodness, if only I knew how to speak. Paratrooper Tan, which is the 3rd one down on the brown scale. So I have multiple highlights I can go into if I need to. So we're gonna start with Leather Brown. and add a little bit of highlights to his tunic, his brown parts of his tunic. I also need to make sure I go back and paint his horns. Okay, so this part here is kind of raised up, so there, a little bit right here. I'm not super good at painting like the creases and stuff in cloth. I'm still kind of figuring out parts of that. She's sitting up in our bed on her mom's laptop. So there's a very good chance that she, you know, mistypes things every once in a while. But I think overall, I think she's doing pretty good with her typing for an 8-year-old. So Mini Shinny, I will give you props for that. I think you were doing a pretty fantastic job. Typing better than I did at that age. I don't even think I had even like, I'm trying to think, like I had maybe seen a computer in like the library or something at school at that age, but I definitely had not really been around computers much, so I really don't know if I had even done any typing at her age. Just that little bit of highlights, I think, adds a ton of depth to that brown down there. You grew up with PCs in your home. So did Shinny Wifey. They had like one of the original like Macintosh PCs, like the Apple. I think they had the Apple 1 and then they had the Apple 2. But I remember like they were telling me like they grew up playing Doom and stuff like that, and I did not really have a computer until I was in like high school. Because your dad's work, so I was super early adapter PC tech and household spaces. That makes sense. You might fall asleep. That's okay, Mini Shinny. If you need to fall asleep, go ahead and fall asleep. It is getting pretty late. And you do have school in the morning. So if you need to fall asleep, that is okay. Okay, I like how that brown turned out. And I really like how like the back of his tunic looks here. Especially with the hood. I like the creases. I think that turned out pretty good. Okay. So let's go ahead and add some of that silver detail. And again, I'm going to use some speed paints for this. I think I'm going to use polished silver. I've got a couple of different ones. Like I used the enchanted steel earlier, this really dark one. And then I also have a broadsword silver, which is a little kind of in the middle, but this polished silver I think is going to look pretty good. So I'm gonna get some of that ready. And I don't know if I've pointed this out, but I usually switch to like a normal type of palette. This is one I got at like, I don't know, Hobby Lobby or something for like $5, maybe even less. I think we got a pack of them for $5, and we have like 3 or 4 of them. But I like to use those, like a normal type of palette for speed paints. And for just metallics in general, I usually use that kind. I don't know. My wet palette I usually just save for normal acrylics. And my wet palette is very dirty because I spilled speed paints in it a long time ago. Okay. Rinsing out my brush. Okay, so I'm gonna go with these little horizontal bar things, or metallic. And I'm also gonna go with these little squares. And same thing on this side. These, I'm gonna paint them metallic, whether they actually are or not, because I don't know. How much purples do I have? Honestly, not enough. I only have a few. I have one really good one from Vallejo. And then I have a handful of purples from Army Painter. But like I said, probably not nearly enough. Like if I really wanted to have some, like paint some cool purples, I don't think I have enough shades of it. Purple is great. And it is Shinny Wifey's favorite color. These little buckle things on his bracer, glove, wristband things are also silver. And same on this side. And we'll go ahead and start on his lightsaber hilt here as well. This is one that we will probably, once this dries, come back over it with a wash, just to make sure that we get the right look. So what I'm hearing is Flareon and purple stuff are a big hit. That sounds about right. That is looking pretty good. Pretty good. Let me rinse out the metallics there. I really have no idea what color to paint like his base. I kind of want something that'll... I don't want it to stand out too much, but I don't want to just paint it like flat gray and be like, okay, it's done. Okay, I'm going to work on his horns. Which... I'm gonna go climb in bed. I got work tomorrow morning, then I'm taking Friday off to spend with my mom. Very nice, very nice. Well, thank you for hanging out with us, Lord Taltos. Really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out and chatting. It's always great to have you here. So have a good night, get some rest, and have a good Friday with your mom. Because for those who don't remember, this weekend, this Mother's Day weekend. So now's a good time to remember if you haven't. I'm getting to know little me. She is very much a little me. That is true. And she's also very much a little version of her mom. She's a really good mix of both of us. There's a little spot right in there. I kind of missed. There. That looks better. It's crazy. I have a kid. I have 2 kids. We used to just hang out at cons and be poor. It's very true. It's very true. Believe me, from this end, it also still feels crazy that I have kids. Not in a bad way, just it's like, you know, you look back at it sometimes and you're just like, holy cow, I have a kid. Or in my case, holy cow, I have 2 kids. Let's see. Maul's horns are very much... Man, okay, in a lot of pictures, they are yellow, but some of these pictures are like really shadowed, so it's kind of hard to... They're definitely like... They're almost like bone color, but then they still kind of lean into yellow a lot of times. And even almost orange in some shots, but I'm not sure if that's because of the... like the lighting. But what I'm thinking is I don't really want to do too many layers on his horns. But I'm thinking I might go with a color like this inner light where it is orange, but it really leans into the like almost yellow side of it. I think that'll look pretty good. So I'm going to get some of this ready. And then, I really don't know what color to paint that part of his base. Like that like piece of rubble he's like jumping off of. Because it looks like it should be like a solid like chunk of stone or metal or something. And then there's like a little bit of like dirt or mud and then just like the base under that. I think the base itself is going to be brown on top, but this thing, I feel like this should be a color of some kind, but I don't know. Anyone in chat have any suggestions for the rubble on his base? Any colors you would like to see? There was a suggestion made earlier about the horns. Make sure to keep the red around the horns because his tattoos don't touch the horns. I remember that. I believe that was from You there is here, I believe. He had said that earlier. I could be thinking of the wrong person, and if so, I apologize. But I am going to definitely try to keep that red kind of at the base of his horns. As long as I don't accidentally cover it up. This might be too bright of orange. Or yellow. Whichever color you want to call it, because the bottle says orange, but the color is very much leaning into yellows. Also, like, some of these details are so small that I feel like I'm kind of going cross-eyed trying to stare at them. Also, Shani Wifey, I don't know if you saw earlier, you may have been wrestling with Shinny Baby, trying to knock him back out. But we had Alan from the Army Painter was chatting with us a little while ago. So that was kind of neat. Just left your son. He was adorable, and I just climbed into bed. We have a long-legged mini Shinny in our bed. That sounds correct. And I figured by the footsteps I was hearing upstairs that you had just gotten out of his room a few minutes ago. Awesome. Did he say much? He did. Alan was hanging out for a little while. At one point he said, I think when he first entered, he said something about nice paint selection or something like that. And I realized his name, it was Alan with TAP, TAP, which is the army painter, and I know all their social media stuff has TAP, and I was like, oh my gosh, are you actually with the army painter? And he said yes, and I choose to believe him. You know, I guess it's always possible, you know, someone's out there just being like, yeah, I'm with the army painter, but, you know, I don't see why he would lie. So I'm just going to choose to believe. Okay, so every horn has a patch of red around in every media source. Okay. So then I'm going to have to go back and kind of fix these in the back. Because I did it for the front, but when I was looking at pictures, I didn't notice the red as much on the back side of his head. So I'm going to... There's not a lot of pictures of the back side of his head. Even in... Oh yeah, there's definitely some red around that. Okay. I didn't notice that as much on that picture until like when you pointed it out. It makes a lot of sense. So I'm gonna have to figure out how because he has this there's kind of like a raised little ring area, kind of I think if I kind of just hit that and give it that like illusion a little bit, I think you have a minor obsession with Maul. That's fair. He's such a cool guy. I do really like Maul, and I like when they first brought him back, I had the opinion of, oh man, he got cut in half. How the heck is he going to come back? Like, why are they bringing him back? This is dumb. But his whole story arc has just been amazing, and I love it. And I'm really, really glad that they brought him back. Up late tonight. Shinny Baby was cuddled up watching Sea Beast with me. He was adorable. Yeah, you guys were watching that when we were doing his, like, getting him ready for bed stuff. Mini Shinny, that's okay. You can fall asleep if you need to. I'm glad you were able to hang out with us, though. Streaming like this and having my wife and daughter being able to kind of, you know, hang out in the chat, and I mean they're right upstairs, like but like having them here, like that is just so cool to me, like being able to have them hang out with us. I like that a lot. I think that's probably going to be about as good as I can get on some of those details. I always thought Darth Maul had such potential and thought it was so lame that he was only in one movie. Right? He had like some of the coolest scenes. Like he was such a standout character in episode 1. He showed up. He immediately tries to kill Anakin. Like, as a kid, he's like, I see that kid running. I'm going to run him over with my speeder bike. Like, that was the very first thing he tried to do. And I love that. Like, he didn't even know who Anakin was at that point, I don't think. And he's just like, I want to kill that kid. He's very respectable. He almost saved the whole galaxy right there, but Qui-Gon had to stop him. I do have a smaller brush. Alright, I'm going to attempt this. I'm just like not quite getting, like there's not enough paint and I can't really get a bigger brush to get in here and like try to get more paint around there. So I think this is going to have to do. There is red around the yellow. It's kind of hard to see, but I promise I did it. I did it just for you. You there is here. I wanted it to be close. I need to add another brighter. Raging Rose is the next step up. I don't know if this is going to be bright enough though. I may have to go even brighter. And I'm glad you guys also enjoy hanging out. But it's, like I said, it's always great having my wife and daughter also be able to just, hang out and chat. And both of them also enjoy miniature painting. Maybe not quite as much as me, because I do really, really like it. But both of them also like to paint. And so sometimes I get to paint with them too. However, it is, with a 2-year-old, it is often hard to be able to get all 3 of us down here to be able to paint. Sometimes I have to settle with, waiting until late at night after the baby's asleep, or only painting with like my daughter, which is also fun. Don't get me wrong. It's great being able to paint with my daughter, and I'm glad she enjoys the hobby. Cool stream. Thank you, Mario Songs. I'm glad you were able to hang out with us too tonight. You had commented on a couple of my videos the other day, and it was really nice chatting with you. So I'm glad you were able to make it to the stream and hang out too. See, I don't think that's not quite bright enough. I think I'm going to cover like almost like maybe the top like third or so. With this, and then I think I'm going to try to go like 1 shade brighter. This just doesn't look like enough of a step up from where we were. And I also think I need to take, like, his face looks super dark. I think I need to take the red back over his face in a couple of spots to bring that brightness back up just a tad. I don't want to highlight it with a lighter shade though, because it's going to get into it's going to start getting into too much pink, and I'm okay if his saber gets a little bit of pink. I'd enjoy painting more. I'm just exhausted after running around chasing after you spawn. That's fair. I cannot argue with that point, and I can't dispute it or anything either. I'm gonna be very careful. Only get this on red. Basically, I just want to bring up the brightness on his red just a hair in a couple of places. I think that'll help draw the eye to his face just a little bit more. I'm overall though, I'm very happy with how his face has turned out here. I know it's probably kind of hard for you guys to see on stream, and it probably doesn't help either that I'm, you know, moving him around all over the place. I am trying to hold him still, but like when I'm rinsing my brush, like my whole body like just kind of ever so slightly wobbles. And so if I'm not like in this position with both hands kind of holding him in place, and even here you can probably tell, like especially while I'm talking, like he's shaking. Like I'm exaggerating here, but he's shaking ever so slightly. He's vibrating a little bit up and down, and it's really difficult to hold him like perfectly still. Okay, I'm gonna take some matte white, short for Matthew White. I'm gonna mix it with that rose red I just had, or raging rose, not rose red. But I'm gonna take that and mix a little bit together to get like an even brighter pink, because I don't, other than getting like into the crazy like pixie pink or this wicked pink, I don't have any pinks, and these are very pink. They don't look red enough, and I really just kind of want a desaturated red to go into a pink without getting into like the, like, I don't know, those have like a slight amount of like purple in them in my mind. And I don't want that. I also don't want to use this brush. I'll use this guy. No, I don't need that one. This one will be fine. All right, this might be too much of a jump up, but we're going to try it. And since you're going to be kind of looking at him from this front angle, I kind of want the stripe to be on this side too. He still is missing the really annoying to paint forehead tattoo that goes around the front horns, at least based on what I can see, but I may be blind. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to show. I will take a picture of him and post him on the Discord, or on my Discord afterwards. I want so badly to try painting something with my Turbo Dork paint. Oh yeah, I want to see that too. But he has these like raised areas on his forehead, but he has like the area like right here in front of this front horn on both sides is like recessed, and it doesn't, like, at least on this model, it doesn't look like you're supposed to paint there. Like it doesn't really match with the rest. But I don't know how to explain that. Because it's really hard to see. Like, I don't think it's going to show up on camera hardly at all. Like, I can barely see it with my eyes, and I'm like 6 inches away. Oh, and if you need a link to the Discord, I do have a command for that. I think I have a link under, like, in my description or in my panels on Twitch. I disabled some of my panels because I used to stream video games, and then I realized it was a lot more fun to... Hey, yeah, perfect. I was pretty sure I let that enabled to be used by other people. But yeah, anyone is welcome in the Discord. I always post updates on, like, if a stream has to be canceled for some reason or anything like that. I always post that in there. But I also, you know, post stuff I'm working on. If I work on a new video or something, that gets put in there. But yeah, I will 100% post as high resolution picture as I'm able to take of his face after I'm done. And I'm just now realizing part of his shoulder here, I painted it to look like it was part of his shirt, but the angle I was looking at earlier, I thought that's what it was supposed to be, but now I'm looking at it and I really think it's part of his shoulder pad thing. So I'm gonna go fix that. Oh, I missed a... I'm really happy with how he's turning out so far. He's been a ton of fun to paint. And he's not a lot of colors. And I haven't done anything too crazy with, like, you know, techniques or anything. I've done a little bit of highlighting, like, on his robes. And again, I'm really happy with, like, how the back of his robe here turned out. I like that a lot. I'm also pretty happy with his face. It's not perfect, but I think it's looking pretty good. Some of the details also, like, here on his face, like, he has, like, little, like, grooves on his cheeks. Oh, a hydrate. I can do that. But he has little grooves on his cheeks that I tried to leave black, but I think a little bit of red might have seeped into him. So I had gone back over. I used a wash on his face to try to bring those lines back a little bit, and I can kind of see them. Again, I don't know. This is as good as my camera can really zoom in on this without... Oh, actually, hold on. Can I... Maybe... It's about as far as it can zoom in. So... there's... So I don't know how well you can see, but like right here, this part is like recessed in that like kind of weird shape there. And he has these like little recesses on his cheeks that are supposed to be darker. So I tried really hard to leave those black. And he kind of had some markings on the shape of the this is really hard to do this when it's so zoomed in. Oh my gosh. I tried really hard to follow a lot of the shapes and lines, and then again I tried really hard to get at least some red around the bases of those. It looks really bad this zoomed in. But I was trying really hard to paint like a ring around the spikes on the back of his head. Oh, excuse me, sorry. I pulled out your unpainted Maul to see what you mean. I can kind of see what you mean. Yeah, it's hard to explain because like this piece right here is raised, and so there's like this kind of shape in the middle of his forehead that looks like it should be. Mine's a little bit tinted red because I accidentally got some red there, but it looks like these shapes on the sides should be red, but then there should be black in the middle and then black on this side. And then this part right here is raised again. That kind of wraps around into that top part. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I don't think the model is perfect. Like I think they did a really good job, but I don't know if it's super accurate, if that makes sense. I'm gonna take some oak brown. Whoop. Actually, before I do that, before I do the oak brown, well, crap. Yeah, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna get some gray. Mostly because I don't know what other color to paint this base, but I'm gonna water down some gray. And at the moment, I'm just gonna kind of coat the whole thing with some watered down gray. I think it's the model, which makes me sad they didn't update the model for the Shadow Collective Leader set. Yeah, like, again, it's pretty good, and there's only so much detail you can really show at this scale, but it's not perfect. There are some flaws. I think for like the Shatterpoint scale, it probably would be easier to get the details more correct. But yeah, his face looks pretty much the same as his old model. Start with that. And I'm going to add some brown to the rest of the base. And then we'll probably do some, maybe not dry brushing, but we'll probably do some highlights on the edge of the gray. I might do some dry brushing on like this little bit of rubble or whatever this is. But yeah, I do also have the old Maul here for comparison, and I'm pretty sure that their face sculpts they're not identical, because the old one is in more of like a sneer, like he's kind of smiling a little bit. He's really enjoying, you know, this is like right after he pulled his double saber for the first time against Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, like right before they start going into those crazy unsafe walkways. He's in it for the love of the game. He's so excited. But he kind of has those same forehead markings. It's just really hard to see on this model, on the camera. It's hard to see. But I think it's very similar markings. Oh, also his belt's different. Huh. He's got more buckles on his new belt. Interesting. I never noticed that before, but I also don't think I've ever really like looked at the two side by side. That's the one you just finished painting. You're welcome to post it in the Discord too if you want. I love seeing what everyone else is working on too. Getting out some oak brown. And we're just gonna kind of go to town. And really just cover most of the base. I'm still kind of getting used to this new camera angle. I changed it from the last time I did a stream or a video, and I have to hold things at just a slightly different angle to get like the best view for you guys. And I apologize if I keep like moving him out of frame or something. You'll have to wait till you get back from the game tonight. Grievous and Maul with an AAT and a WLO5. That's the new like pirate tank, right? And that sounds exciting. Are you playing Grievous and Maul? Or are you playing against that? You just glued it together last night. Okay, so you have that army. All right, nice. Do you know who you're playing against? Do you know what they're bringing? Some Empire army? Gotcha. I think I've only played against the Empire once, and it was in that Legion Escalation League thing that I ended up winning, but I mostly won not because I was any good at the game, but I won because most of my opponents tapped out. Like, they didn't even show up for their games. Like, it was several years back, and I don't think that most of our local community was really interested in Legion. So I was supposed to have like 8 games, and I think I only played like 4. But we were doing a thing where, like, if you posted hobby pictures every week online, and if you played your game, or if you showed up for your game, you got points. And if you painted stuff or you did hobby time with your models, you got points for that. And so I basically just won because I was participating more than anybody else. But I won the Shadow Collective box set, which was really, really cool. I was very excited. And yeah, so this is finally the first thing I've painted from that set, but that's the only time I've ever played against an Empire player, I think. Most of my buddies play either clones or droids. But I've also never played against Maul. My droid player buddy, he actually runs Count Dooku as his leader. And then he runs a double AAT and a lot of B1s, a couple of Droideka, and like a naked B2 squad is what he usually... That's his normal list that he brings, and it is such a pain to deal with. It took me a while to figure out what to do against those tanks. Because if I bring a list that's like all impact to try to handle them, he just has so many B1s and I can't get through them all. But if I bring something to only deal with B1s, then I can't really deal with the tanks. Unless I found ways to ignore the tanks. If I can get him to misposition them just right with terrain, then I can kind of dance around on other parts of the field. Or one time I got him to accidentally deploy both of his tanks on one end of the battlefield, and then I just started deploying everything else on the other side. And so they had to waste a lot of time just moving to get to my end of the battlefield. This is looking pretty good, I think. I don't know if he's done, but I'm going to do a little bit of, maybe not edge highlighting, but I am going to do some highlighting with a lighter color on the base down here. I guess it'll be kind of edge highlighting. But yeah, I personally I'm not like a super competitive, well, just in general, like a person, I'm not a very competitive person. I enjoy playing, I love playing the game, but I really don't care if I win or lose most of the time. I'm just there to have fun. So I don't always bring like a meta list or anything like that. I did, one of my buddies, we played a game of Tours of Duty, or I guess a couple of games of Tours of Duty, and that was pretty neat. I really liked that, the narrative aspect that added. I don't know if it's quite fleshed out enough yet, but I did enjoy what was there. I think it's got some promise. You like to mix up lists pretty much every game. I think I probably do that, maybe not consciously, but I don't play enough to where I want to play the same list. I'm like always wanting to try different things or new units or something. Because I don't play enough. In fact, it's already been like, I don't think I've played a game this year. I think the last time I played was like November or December. So it's been a little bit. I need to get back out there and play something. So I've also been wanting to do a Tours of Duty campaign, like battle report style, on my YouTube channel. And I will see how well that goes. I'm still painting stuff for it though, so I'm not ready to start, but in the past I've done some 5 parsecs from home videos. I'm gonna paint the inside parts of this, like where it's broken. I'm gonna paint that lighter. I think that makes sense. It's like broken off, so we'll pretend it's like newer rubble or something. But yeah, it's been a while since I did any 5 parsecs from home stuff, and I've been wanting to get back into that too. And recently, some people in the community for 5 parsecs from home uploaded some conversions for the main rulebook, so you can actually run like a Star Wars version of 5 parsecs from home, which is really neat. And 5 parsecs, if you're unfamiliar, is a solo or co-op adventure war game, and it's really neat. It's like skirmish size, but it's got like all of this like background stuff. Like you build a crew and you kind of tell like a narrative story in between missions, and like you have like crew tasks that your people go and do in between, and then you go and do like a tabletop battle, and then you find loot and stuff. And yeah, you don't have to make the AI. Tours of Duty is fun. I'm looking to make an AI to fight against so I can get some games in more regularly. That's okay. That's actually what I was planning to do for my Tours of Duty campaign. And I know the YouTuber Krabok, he made kind of an AI system for Legion back. This would have been like right in the middle of COVID, I believe. So like 2020, maybe 2021. So it's probably like super outdated by now. If he hasn't been updating it. I don't know if he did or didn't, but he kind of had a system that I used once or twice, which I thought was pretty neat. And so I was kind of hoping either that was updated or it would still work with New Legion. But that was kind of what I was planning to do for my Tours of Duty campaign. And then just because the AI is never going to be as good as another player, while I'm going to be using a Tours of Duty list, I'm going to have my opponent, the AI, actually use like real leaders and real upgrades and stuff like straight out the gate. And I might even give the AI more points than what I have just to help balance it if I need to. I don't know if I'll need to or not, but that's kind of my idea of how to make the AI work. But yeah, 5 parsecs is really cool. But it is much more like a skirmish size. Like your crew is only going to be like 5 or 6 characters. And your opponents, like you'll roll up enemies and you might fight 4 or 5 guys, or you might fight like up to 10 or so might be the maximum. But it's pretty neat. I like it. It's very story driven, but it's also like the book has a bunch of like random tables that you roll on. You use like a D100 system to roll on the tables to generate random events and missions and things that happen, and I think that's neat. I like it. It's a different type of game. It's totally different than Legion, but it's miniatures agnostic. You can use any miniatures you want with it, and I like that. I think it's neat. I'm also not sponsored by them or anything. I really like the game. I love sharing the hobby with people. Okay. So I don't think I'm going to attempt to paint his eyes tonight. They are so tiny. Those are itty bitty eyes and I can barely see them, and I'm tired. It is midnight here. I'm not even gonna try to paint those tonight, but I may get to them later, and I'm probably gonna paint the rim of his base black, and I might add some I might put some grass tufts on here, but I think I'm gonna do some like dry brushing on this like kind of mud pile over here or whatever that is, just so it's not just a flat brown. But I think that's about the only other things I would do to this. Other than that, Darth Maul is mostly done. There's just a few little touch-up things I would probably do. But overall, I am pretty happy with how this guy turned out. Pretty good for one stream, I think. Sometimes I get kind of caught up in the little things and I don't even make it like through a model. I'm a relatively slow painter, I think. I'm not super fast, but I'm also not, like, I know some people, like, if you're familiar with Miniac, he will take hours and hours and hours on a single miniature, but he's like a display show painter, and I'm a tabletop standard plus a little bit is what I would consider my painting level, but I'm very happy with him. Maul was a lot of fun to paint, and I think he was a good choice for this Revenge of the Sixth. So to pay it forward, since Miniature Graveyard actually raided me earlier, I think I need to go find someone to raid as well. So I'm actually going to go ahead and shut down the YouTube half of the stream. I'm double streaming on both YouTube and Twitch, so I'm going to go ahead and shut down the YouTube stream, and I'm going to look for someone to raid over on Twitch. Mario, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it, and thank you for the super chat earlier. That is super appreciated. So it is also midnight for you, so you're probably in the same time zone as me. But yeah, thank you. I'm going to shut down the YouTube half, but over on Twitch, we're going to go see if we can find another miniature painter to raid while I'm cleaning my brushes and stuff and before I go to bed. So thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, YouTube.